Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome on the Culture News. My name is David SERERO, and I have the pleasure today, ladies and gentlemen, to have over the phone a one-of-a-kind, talented, super talented singer. She is a jazz pop singer, but she's also a songwriter. She has a beautiful voice and beautiful artistic quality. Her name is HALIE LOREN, and I have on the phone HALIE. How are you, HALIE, today?
I'm fantastic. How are you, David?
My dear, it is a pleasure and an honor to have you over the phone. You are absolutely a first-class singer. I enjoy everything that you're doing, all your music, and it always reassures me that I'm not the only one. You always feel bad when you like a singer and you realize that nobody else but you like that singer. You're like, oh, I must have my taste, But you are like huge in Asia, in Japan, in Korea, not in North Korea though. Don't worry. But like
we don't know.
Korea.
We don't know for sure about that one.
You made sensation and sold out performances at the Montreal International Jazz Festival, at the Rochester International Jazz Festival in San Francisco. You toured also in Italy and in Toronto and many other places. So congratulations, first of all, for your absolutely first-class career. Really, congratulations.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.
So for the few people who don't know you, I'm sure there are some people around in Alaska or somewhere who don't know you. Would you be so kind to let us know how this whole adventure, your musical adventure, started, and what brought you to this genre that you created?
Sure. Well, it's funny that you mentioned Alaska, actually, because that is where I grew up. So that was a perfect segue. So I actually started singing when I was very, very young. I don't actually remember the time of my life before singing was a big passion for me. But I began performing when I was 10 years old in Alaska, and I was heavily influenced by jazz from a really young age because where I lived, where I was growing up, was pretty isolated for the first few years, and then and even after I moved to a bigger town of 8,000 people, it was still much less influenced by pop culture than a lot of other places in the world. It was pretty sheltered in a lot of ways. Yeah. And so most of my musical inspiration and what I listened to came from my parents' record collection, which my mom's taste has always been really eclectic and has had a lot of jazz and blues and roots music as a big part of the mix of what she always listened to. And so that's what I listened to a lot as well. And my very favorite singer when I was young was Nat King Cole, and he still is. Wow. And I didn't really know what genres were at that time, but I was really drawn to a lot of the classics from the 40s, 50s, and 60s of a lot of what turned out to be jazz singers, as I learned later in life. And so my journey really started there with just falling in love with the music and the warmth and the songwriting, and grew from there. And then by the time I moved to Oregon when I was 14, I had performed enough to really know that this was the path for me, and I became professional, and jazz was always a really big part of what I performed, although I tried out all kinds of styles while kind of cutting my musical teeth. And that's where I landed again when I got a little older.
Wow. Well, we are very grateful to life, and I take back everything I said about Alaska ever.
Well, there are probably plenty of people in Alaska who would not know me from Adam. So.
Oh yeah.
Yes. No, you never know.
I mean, there must be some good genes over there. That's definitely for sure. Really. So you have released that great new album called Butterfly Blue. And I must say I'm a huge fan of the song Yellow Bird.
Thank you.
Start like a pop song, a little bit, and then you have all that jazz feelings that is coming in. So it's a really very beautiful, and I can't wait. But by the way, I might sound a little bit unprepared, but I don't know if a music video has been made of that song, but I can't wait to see it on the music video because it would be so beautiful in terms of visuals, because you can see many colors, and I'm sure it would reflect very beautifully on the music video. So what is interesting in Butterfly Blue is that you have some of your own songwriting, which is, let's say that it's quite rare for a jazz singer to write some jazz, to write her own jazz music, because, the whole thing about jazz is to sing standards and to kind of make it yours, right? So to hear a jazz singer who is singing her own material, I think is the best thing in the world, and we need new material, right? And also
I agree.
And also on that album, you have some great of your new song, but also you added some standards. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this album, and if you don't mind putting your very beautiful mouth a little bit away from the microphone of the phone, if you don't mind. That's a small.
I don't mind a bit. Is that better?
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know. So Butterfly Blue is my 7th studio album and my 8th album release that I've done. And it, as you mentioned, does include several standards, some of my favorites, including Stormy Weather, which has been a long time highlight for me from the American Songbook, and Boulevard of Broken Dreams, which I've been singing since I was maybe 12 years old. But it has also a number of original tunes, including Yellow Bird, which definitely leans more jazz pop, as you said. Butterfly, which is part of the namesake of the album, which is much more soul jazz. And Danger Loving You, which is kind of a classic 1940s, somewhat big band inspired, film noir kind of song. And there's also 2 original compositions that I did not write, but the guitar player who's featured on much of the album, Daniel Gallo, who is also a wonderful songwriter, he composed those, and I've been singing them with him for a long time, and they felt like a great fit for the album. And those are the songs Blue and After the Fall. And I'd say that this album has a lot of focus on some of sort of on the themes of darkness and light and transformation from this deep sort of place of melancholy to sort of revelation about how beautiful life can be. And so it really runs this emotional gamut that for me was a really compelling theme for the album. I kind of knew I wanted to go this direction before I even started making it. But the way that it unfolded in the studio, and I love this about the studio, is it definitely explored emotional range in a different way than I could have ever expected. And it's I think this one has a lot of variety within this cohesive sort of arc. And I also really enjoyed the fact that it was my first experience working with a horn section, not just a solo trumpet player featured on a song or two, or a saxophone player on a song or two. It has sort of this element that runs throughout, not in every song, but in most of the songs. It has the presence of horns, either in groups of 3 or 4, or single horns, but it's sort of a thematic musical element too.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I wanted to ask you, when you, I'm always interested, as a singer also, when you are recording your material, when you are doing recording studio, how do you record? Do you first set up the instrumentals and then after you take your time to do your voice, or you like to do it all at once like they used to do in the old days?
Well, I would love to be able to have a chance to do it all at once, because I find that to be really exciting. As a live singer, I think things come out in a live performance that wouldn't come out in a studio. I've not had the opportunity, though, to record in that fashion before. I've recorded every album to date. I've engineered and produced along with sometimes along with my one of my major collaborators, Matt Shredder, who's also the pianist on this album, and a lot of other things I've done. But we've sort of been wearing both engineering and producer hats, as well as being performers on the album. And so the division of the labor has made it so that, we've done one and then the other. Yeah.
No, but that's people don't realize how difficult it is, because sometimes you sing the song and you're like, oh my God, that's the best take I've ever done, and then
I know
you hear then one of the drum or the bass had done a little mistake, so you have to do it again, but then you lose your freshness for each song.
True.
So people don't understand that sometimes you need to record first the instrumental, so then after you can put your voice. And now with the technology, why not use it that way? That's really, really wonderful. And so what is next for you? Are you going to tour? I believe you have some shows coming up. I think in Indianapolis, you have, I think, 2 shows, right?
Yes, I do. At the end of this month. I'm going to Indiana for the first time, actually. I've never somehow been there.
Wow.
And I've got quite a few other things that are coming up in the next few months. A couple things that are sort of pending that I can't quite announce yet. But some really exciting stuff. And, I've spent the last 7 years or so touring, internationally as well as nationally, pretty consistently, but not the entire year, but more like groups of dates at a time or a couple weeks at a time kind of thing, which is a pace that I really like, because it takes me out there, and then before I get super tired, I get to come back and sort of record and work on other things, and then go out again, and it's really nice to be able to do that in my career in this way. It's pretty perfect for me. Of course, my website, which has my calendar on it, is a place where people often find out about my tour dates, as well as on social media and Facebook. I'm on Facebook pretty frequently, catching up with fans and stuff. So, I'm right now not only gearing up for some shows and some tours that are kind of shaping up right now, but also I'm working on some new songs. I'm actually looking to start laying down the foundation for the next album soon. I really like to make albums in pretty quick succession to one another.
But as soon as you release one album, I'm sorry. As soon as you release one album, you're always thinking about the next one, because it's so inspiring to release an album and to see the reaction of your audience, that you're like, I want to do the next. And this is why I never understood some filmmakers. They're like, they are shooting the movie and they are still working on the other. I'm like, my friend, finish this one already, release it, But then when I started to do this, then I started to understand how it feels, So that's you get it. It's a healthy addiction, I think. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. So, my dear Haley, I wanted to thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule. And I want you to know
pleasure.
No, my pleasure, really. And I want you to know that the doors of this album are open to you 24/7, and we're going to play the song Yellow Bird first because I love it and because I know that the audience will love it. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is David SERERO, and I had the pleasure to have on the Culture News today, which you can hear on SoundCloud, on iTunes Radio, iTunes Podcast, and more, and YouTube also. I had the pleasure to have the wonderful, talented HALIE LOREN. Let me spell it out for you. It's H-A-L-I-E, Loren, like Sophia Loren, L-O-R-E-N. And she has just released a fantastic album. I believe there are 12 songs on it that is called Butterfly Blue, which is a mix of some jazz pop of her own songwriting, but also some standards, as she just described. You guys have to go and purchase that album. You can follow her on several social media, including Facebook, but also buy the album. Most importantly, don't be cheap. Buy the album on iTunes or Amazon, or eventually listen to it on Spotify. Eventually. But really, it's a fantastic album, and listen also to the other albums of my dear HALIE, because she will make your day and even your year in a much brighter way. So, my dear HALIE, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This has really been fun.
It was my pleasure and my honor. Talk to you soon. You take care, dear.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you so much.